Okay, thank you, Nakai-san. I'm the Kentaro Miyamoto from the RIKEN Center of Brain Science, and we published one paper about some of the human metacognition mechanisms for the social setting in the earlier this year from the Nature Communications also. So today I'll talk about the topics of this paper. So with some the introduction before that also. I really appreciate you gathering in the after the lunchtime. This areas also. So I'm working at RIKEN Center for Brain Science from 2021, and my lab, yes, is a laboratory for imagination and executive functions. And sorry. And we are interested in some higher cognition, including future imagination, social cognition, some suppositional thinking and reasoning in macaques and humans also. So we recently proposed some of the ideas about some neural mechanism of some suppositional thinking, thinking about hypothetical things also, and we are now investigating some of the interaction between some prefrontal regions to enable such a higher cognition also. In our labs, we use some multidisciplinary approaches using some MRI and some of the brain disruption method by using ultrasound, some simultaneous recording of the EEG and MRI. And we are also comparing some of the human and animal behavior, especially for the macaque monkeys, based on some of the natural behavior observation in that case. Okay, so today's topic is that how we imagine the other subjective experience, how we imagine how the other people think about the same event also. Okay, this scales is very important because we need to imagine the common experience with you and the others for good communication also. Okay, to enable it also, I focus on some cognitive functions of called the metacognition. This metacognition is the mental process that evaluate our own cognition, objectively, subjectively also. Okay. For the behavior and neural mechanism of this metacognition also, I use some of the animal models of the macaque monkeys also, and we found that this process of this metacognition is independent from some of the normal cognition process, including memory, perception, or something also. And the reason why we focus on this metacognition is that we hypothesize that this metacognition for the oneself is useful to think about the other people's mental state also. Okay. In our studies also, okay, so we develop some of the new tasks and new behavior paradigms to investigate some neural mechanism of this metacognition by developing some of the new games. In these games also, the monkey is doing some memory task, and after the memory task also, the monkey make a gamble on the performance of the memory task also. And by using this gamble paradigm also, that we can know the monkey's confidence about the memory decision also. Okay, this confidence is one of the important metacognitive processes also. So by using these task paradigm also, that we can know the metacognition of some animals without some language or some verbal communications also. Okay. And what is metacognition? Maybe you may think about it. So I will briefly explain how the metacognition is examined and thought in the context of psychology also. Okay. As I explained, that metacognition is a kind of self-monitoring process that monitor some the normal cognition like memory, perception or so. So this monitoring part is the most important, and some of the if we feel the very high confidence or the low confidence after that we do some the difficult task or so, in this confidence is comes from this metacognitive process that evaluate one's own the cognition objectively also. But at the same time also, the metacognition is important to change the action of the subject or build some the strategy to make the next decision also. So this part of the control is very, very important also. But it is overlooked for long years or so. So this metacognition is that this is in the dictionary definition is that just a some evaluation, the monitoring process also. But we believe that this metacognition is important to make next strategic decision and actions and to optimize some decisions also. Okay. So this metacognition is prominent in some of the memory process here also. Okay, as I explained, that the normal memory process is that is consists of some the memory acquisition, retention, and retrieval the process also. So if you need to study for the history exam or so, that you need to memorize some of the contents on the textbook first. This is acquisition, and you need to maintain this memory for one night, overnight or so, and next morning or so that you need to retrieve some of the memorize contents, and then to answer some exam also. So that this acquisition, retention, retrieval, this is a normal memory process. But at the same time also that you use some metacognitive process, including some monitoring also. So this monitoring is that during the exam also, if you are confident or you are not confident also, that this confidence information is useful to make some the final decision of this retrieval also. But during some of the studying, some textbook also, that you may monitor the status of your memory also, that you know that this part very well also, that you may skip that to memorize this part, and then you don't memorize the other part also, then you may focus on this part also. Like that, you changes your some the strategy to memorize this textbook here, and this is some control the aspect of the metacognition also. So we conceptualize that this metacognition is important to generate some action also, and in the series of study.
Can I ask a basic question? So I roughly understand what is a metacognition from in psychology, but what is the definition of the cognition itself? So cognition is a more general concept. Seems to be me. So general concept, and some of the parts seem to be a metacognition. But in these cases, there's a cognitions and there's a different idea of the metacognition. Is it okay?
Okay. So in the psychology also, the psychology is hypothesized that some hierarchical structure of some cognition and metacognition also. But in the context of some maybe the neuroscience, cognitive neuroscience also, maybe the cognition is one process of some the transformation from the sensory input to the action, motor output also. Everything in the mediated in this input and output should be the cognition also. So the metacognition would be a part of this cognitive process and some the mediator process from the sensory to the motor also. But the key things is that in the study that I shared today, and some studies in the researchers show that in the brain circuit or the brain network also, there is some hierarchical process is embedded implemented also. So in some brain circuit is for some evaluations of some own process also. yeah. And it was unclear, yeah, if some the cognition and some the more the monitoring the process in the brain circuit is different or the same also. But we developed some of the new the psychological tasks that focusing on the difference between the metacognition and cognition was all. And we found that psychological metacognition and psychological cognition is implemented in the independently and separately in the brain network also, and some disruption or silencing of some one module, that the module for this metacognition also, the only the behavioral performance of the about this metacognition is impaired also. So based on some psychology, the theory also, and we look for some neural correlates of metacognition and cognition, that we found that these are the separate and independent also. So I think that it's reasonable to think that both the process is independent also in the brain, and in the context of the cognitive neuroscience also, that we should separate these two systems.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a metacognition, and in the series of study also, that we found that for monitoring some of the prefrontal regions, including some of the area 9, the dorsal prefrontal cortex, and frontopolar cortex, the anterior end of the prefrontal cortex is important. And this information is integrated in the posterior, the parietal cortex also. And this integrated information is used for the strategic some decisions of some gambling also. And this was mediated by the pathway from the parietal cortex to the ACC also. So like that also, we found that this monitoring and some the control is implemented in different some of the neural circuit and pathway also. So the question is that this metacognition is used for the future actions. Okay, the future action generations also. Okay, so to solve this question also, that we conducted the 2 studies in humans also. Okay. I showed some first study that this is published in the 2021 Neuron, and in this study, we found some neural mechanism to predict the probability of success for the future decision making. So that using this metacognition for the future performance also. So this metacognition is important, but I want to explain some of the background of some the tasks that we invented in the study also. So please imagine that example here also. Okay, so you get up late and you need to go to the conference to give a talk in a rush also. Okay, in this case also, that you need to think about the different types of the probability of the uncertainty also, and to make some the decision also. Okay, so the possibility is that one option is that maybe that you can catch a bus also, and to go to the conference place also. Okay, in that case also, if you get the bus, that you can for sure arrive at the conference place. But sometimes some bus is the time that the bus comes is uncertain also. Okay. Okay, so in that case also, there is some uncertainty about the bus is come on the right time also, and it's uncertain if you can get the conference place on time also. Okay, if you catch a bus also, you need to think about some uncertainty, and this uncertainty is not controlled by yourself, and it is given by the environment of some external world. So we defined this uncertainty is environmental probability or uncertainty. Okay, then the other option is that you can drive to the conference place by yourself also. In that case also, there is no uncertainty about when this car arrives also. You have a car and you can go there. But in this case also, there's another uncertainty. The uncertainty about that if you can get this conference place by yourself by remembering the route to the conference place also. So the chance of success for driving is uncertain, and this type of the uncertainty we call the self-probability also. Okay, so to make a decision about the way that you use to get a conference place, okay, you need to compare the two different type of the probability also, and make a choice on to better probability the option also. So we are interested in the comparison of these two different type of probability, and especially for the evaluating this self probability also, that this metacognitive process, that the evaluation process of the one's own some the memory circuit or one's own the perceptual circuit is required also. Okay, so the to know how the human participant compared these two type of the probability in prior to make a decision, so make a decision of the transportation also. Okay, we invented a behavioral task paradigm using some random dot motion stimulus also. Okay, here is that we will give some random dot motion stimulus that includes a lot of the dots, including in the screen also, and some dot is moving in the leftward and some dot is moving on the rightward also. Okay. Okay, if the participant is given this option also, okay, and the participant make a good decision to judge the motion direction, the majority of dots also, the participant can get reward also. But if the participant do the difficult motion direction judgment task also, okay, the chance of success is correlated with some is associated with some ambiguity, the motion dot motion direction also. If the most dot is moving in the same direction also, so it's easy to judge the correct direction also. But if the most of dot is moving in randomly and very small number of dots is moving in the left or right also, then it's very difficult to judge the motion direction also. So the chance of success is determined by the internal contingency or some the variation of the performance also. Okay, so if the participant choose this random dot motion option also, they need to guess their performance before doing this task. Okay. But as another random dot motion option also, that will give the very easy tasks that all dot is moving in the same direction also. So in this case also, the participant never fail to judge the direction also. But the important thing is that we changes the number of dots, including in this option also. And the number of dots represent some final probability of the reward after the success also. Okay, if the participant do this task also, the reward probability is determined by this number of dots and the external contingency or the external some information probability also. So our idea is that the environmental probability is associated with this number of moving dots in the random dot motion task. And some self-probability is associated with some of the coherence of motion or difficulty of the task also. And ask the participant, okay, to choose the better task the participant want to try in the first stage of the task also, and to see some process of the matching between this self-probability and environmental probability before doing this task also. Okay. So this is a task one trials of the task that we use also here. And yeah, so the participant has a chance to compare the two probability also. And after the choice of the task also, the participant are given to try the task they chose also. Okay. If they chose a select option task or self probability task also, the participant can get reward always if the participant make a correct response here also. But if the participant choose some environment probability task also, the participant try this environment probability task also, and participant never fail also, the probability, but the reward is given sometimes and not given, and other time also. This reward probability is determined by the number of dots also. So the participant task is that to guess how high probability he can do this self probability task also, or it's about 60%, 70% also, and then compare the reward probability given by the environment probability task. This is 50% also, and then the participant choose a better task also. Okay. Participant can do this task very well because here in the task that we give some old combinations of some eight the external probability the condition and 8 internal probability condition also. And if the internal probability, this task, internal probability is high, and this task is very easy, and the external probability task, the number of dots is very small also, the participant should choose this internal task or self-probability task. But if the number of the external probability and environment probability task is big, and the internal probability task is very difficult, and the dot is moving in the random direction also, the participant should choose external task. So if the participant perform this task in a very optimal way also, the performance pattern should be like that. And this is the performance pattern also. And participant can change their choice based on both the internal probability and external probability also. And this black line is the performance of each internal probability task or each coherence condition also. So that you can see that the participant changes the task choice between this line also. So that we evaluated, we calculated some of the metacognition performance based on the correct classification of trials, especially for if the top left, these cells trials, they choose some external task, and the bottom right, these cells, they choose internal task also. This type 2 AROC is bigger also. So this AROC is higher than the chance also. The participant can do this task very well also. Okay.
So let me check the very basic thing. So
yeah.
how to define the coherence? So
okay, so here is that we use some 100 dots the stimulus here also. And if the coherence is 0.03, it means that only 3 dots is moving in the leftward and rightward, and the other 97 dots is a noise also. Like that, we define that coherence also.
And the horizontal line, the coherence 0 and 0.03, the 0.6 is this is roughly proportional.
Yeah. This is if the human subject has a good scale to just detect a few number of the dots, moving dots also. So even in the very few low coherence, like 6% and 12% or so, this performance is very high, around 65, 75 or so. This black line trace is the performance for each coherence level also. So in the psychophysics context also, the performance is roughly correlated with maybe logarithms of some coherence also.
So that means that this is not proportional also.
Yeah, this proportion. So that we use some the 0.03, 0.6, 0.12, or so the twice, two times, two times, two times, two times. Also that we choose the this coherence level also that make the this performance is like a linear also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the participant did this task inside the scanner, and we look for some of the brain areas whose activity is correlated with this self-probability of the internal probability also, especially during some of the comparison of the internal and external probability in the first metacognition stage also. Okay. Shown here also, that we found that the anterolateral prefrontal cortex, the area 47 in the prefrontal cortex, is active in correlation with the self-probability also. But the interesting thing is that this area is activities is positive in both cases that the participant choose this internal probability option or the participant rejected this internal probability option and choose the external probability option. So irrespective of the participant choice also, this area is active and the increasing the activity, the slope of the increasing the activity is positive in the both case. But interestingly, if the participant finally choose the internal probability option also, the slope is steeper as compared to the case that the participant rejected the internal probability option also. So based on this data also, we hypothesize that the anterolateral prefrontal cortex is important to assess this internal probability subjectively also. But this activity, the slope of this activity is predict the participant, the final some choice of the internal task or the external task also. So they hypothesize that this anterior prefrontal cortex is a key region to the subjectively evaluate the internal probability or some that is associated with the metacognition also. So that we finally we try the disrupting the activity of this LPFC by using the TMS also, and we compare this metacognitive performance index. So as seen here also, if we stimulate the anterior prefrontal cortex also, only the metacognitive performance is impaired as compared to the no stimulation control also. But the perception of the perceptual performance of this difficult random dot motion task itself is not impaired by the anterior prefrontal cortex stimulation. And this effect is not observed in the vertex some the control situation also. So this result shows that the anterior prefrontal cortex disruptions brings some the impairment specific for the metacognitive ability and not for the perception. So this is the conclusion that the anterior prefrontal cortex is important for some of the assessment of some of the one's own performance, but it is not for some of the doing perceptual task itself also. So that is related to the Nakai-san's questions earlier also, that we found that as a circuit level also, that we found that some metacognition, the neural mechanism for the metacognition that is independent from the perception is observed also. Okay. So
I'm sorry, I have a question. So, two slide back.
Yeah.
More. Yeah, here. So in this case, TMS here. So TMS approach is in the same people. So this is the line means that
Okay, so this line is that one subject data also. This is 8 subjects data because we collected this data during the pandemic also, that we cannot get enough subject also. But across this 8 subject also, that we compare the behavior performance after the anterior prefrontal cortex stimulation and some no stimulation control also. So this performance is, consistently some get worse as anterior prefrontal cortex stimulation as compared to the no stimulation control also.
So, and you are choosing LPFC based on the fMRI through data.
Yes, fMRI. So this analysis is, based on this analysis also, only the anterior prefrontal cortex is active in correlation with this internal probability, self-probability during the first comparison of the probability also. So we picked this area.
So I'm interested in the individuality of the results. So, for example, fMRI data is the same subject of the TMS patient or
It's a different subject
different.
also.
And
Yeah,
that means that's also more general. So
yeah,
that means that, for example, the TMC is some people is not increasing. So
yeah.
that the LPFC is some other different positions or I don't know. So the reason. So yeah.
Okay. So we calculated the difference in the slope for each subject also, and calculate some of the correlation between this slope difference and the metacognitive performance also. After that, we found that there is some very clear positive correlation between this slope difference and performance also. So in this subject set of the MRI also, this activity, especially about some some activities, the more the dissociating in the chosen and unchosen, the internal probability, the trials also, then the performance of the subjects is better also. So in the first MRI study and the second TMS study also, that we found some clear some association between the performance and activity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so based on this study also, the anterior prefrontal cortex is important for the predicting the future performance also. Okay. So the next, my interest is that, some of the brain mechanisms to predict the probability of success of the other people than the self also for the future decision making also. Okay, so I'll go back to the same example I showed earlier also. Okay, so you get a blade and need to go to the conference to give a talk in Rush. But in this case, that you have your partner also. Okay, in this situation also, that you have another option that you can ask your partner to drive to the conference place also. So our question is that how our brain is encode this other people's other people's the probability, like a social probability also. The one possibility is that this social probability is similar to some the environmental probability about some if the bus comes or not come or so, because the other people's the thought is it's not uncontrollable by yourself also. It's very similar to some the environmental uncertainty also. But at the same time also, if you think about the other people's performance or the other people's thought also, you imagine that the other people has a similar process like you, there's some self-probability. And so it's possible that the social probability is recognized similar to the self-probability also. Okay. If this social probability is recognized like a self-probability also, the question is that this anterior prefrontal cortex for the self-probability evaluation would be important to evaluate this social probability also. Okay. Okay, so the question is that to look for the how the neural substrate of the how some of the other people, some of the uncertainty is encoded also, but to achieve this goal also, we also focusing on the asymmetric, the metacognitive, the process of some to imagine the other's ability also. Okay. So I'll show you another example. So please imagine that that you just finished your PhD course and you have written some thesis called the Bayesian modeling of decision making and brain, blah, 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 also. Okay. So if you met the undergrad in your lab also, and he is start studying some the Bayesian formula also, like he said like this also. In this case also, maybe that you can imagine how well that this undergraduate student can do some of the difficult Bayesian question. Yeah, based on some observation of this undergrad. And because maybe that you can mentally simulate the situation of some of the undergraduate based on the projections of some your metacognition to this undergraduate student also. Okay. But if you met with this giant, okay, this is Thomas Bayes, he is the innovator of some the Bayesian theory also. Maybe if you met with him on this current era also, and he's expert also, you may not be able to predict this guy's performance also. Because this guy is super smart also. Sometimes this guy can do the very difficult problem, but sometimes he cannot solve the difficult problem also. But you cannot tell the difficult trial from the super difficult trial based on the metacognition or some projection of the thought to this guy also. Okay. There is some symmetry in the strategy to predict some poorer performance others and better performance others also. So we focusing on this asymmetry also and to compare some of the brain mechanism to think about the poorer partner and to think about the better partner also, and compare some of the behavior and the brain, some of the activity also. If there is some difference between the two situations also, especially some we find some of the brain circuit to predict some of the poorer partner also. This circuit is associated with the strategy of the projection of the metacognition to the others also. Okay, so this is a basic idea of our study also, but it's hard to use this Bayesian scale in the experiment also. Okay, we use a random motion here. And in this case, okay, you can do some of this task in some performance also. Then we pick the poor partner whose performance is slightly worse than the subject, and the good partners whose performance is slightly better than the subject also. Okay. In similar to the Bayesian situation also, the participants can predict some poorer partners' performance based on their insight to the stimulus also. But for the good partners, you cannot predict this guy's performance also, especially for the very difficult trials around the coefficient 0 also. You cannot tell the difficult trials from the super difficult trials for the good partners. Okay. So this is a task we use for this project also. Here, okay, the basic task is the second two-stage task like the previous one also. And in the first stage, you can choose the self-task or the partner task. And in the second stage, you can do the chosen task also. Okay. In the first self and partner choice stage also, okay, you are given the one question, the random motion task option, and the other option is for the partner also. But one option if this is a pink color also, this option is for the poor partner, the poor performance partner, and if this is green, this is better performance partner also. Okay. Actually, before this experiment also, the participant do this random dot motion task also, that we know that this guy is a performance also, and we pick the slightly poor the performance subject data and better the performance subject data. Okay, that is recorded prior to this experiment also. Okay. So there is the partner is in the same room also, but the participant is instructed that the other option is based on the other participant's actual performance data also. Okay. So in the task also, basically the difficulty of task for you and difficulty of task for the partner is different also. Some motion coherence is different for the self and partner also. So that you need to predict the chance of success for your task, if you solve this task by yourself, or the performance for the partner's task, if this partner performs this task also. Okay. If you choose this self-task also, the same self-task is repeated again, and you make a decision, and if you are success, then you can get reward also. But if you choose the partner task also, you just see how the participant solves this task in the second stage also, and your reward is determined by this partner's performance, not by yourself also. And another key things is that the task difficulty of self-task and partner task is different by trial. Sometimes your task is easy and partner task is difficult. It's no doubt that you choose your task also. But if your task is very difficult and partner task is slightly easy also, maybe if you trust this partner also, you choose the partner also. Okay, so that we showed all the combinations of the 8 some of the self-task motion coherence condition and 8 different motion coherence condition for the partner task. And this is independently for the poor partner and good partner also. And prediction of the optimal strategy participant is like that also. Okay, if the self-task is easy and coherence is high, and partner task is difficult and coherence low, then you should choose self-task. But if the self-task is coherence low and the partner task is coherence high also, the participant should choose the partner task also. Okay, this is actual some behavior result of the participant also. Okay, if the participant is paired with a good partner also, okay, so this self-task performance that is shown in the blue-red color scale is like that also. And participant, okay, the choice of the self and partner is modulated by the coherence of self or the task of the self-task, the difficulty level also. So this is modulated by this x-axis also. But if the participant is paired with the poor partner also, okay, this self-task performance is modulated by the self-coherence also, but at the same time also, that this is modulated by the partner task, the coherence also. So as compared to the good partner's case also, the poor partner, the participant can predict the poor partner's performance is more also. This pattern is more diagonal also. Okay, this black line is the point that the self-task and the partner's task performance is get the same level also. Okay. So in the poor partner's case also, the participant changes the choice of the self and others based on this line also. And some social metacognition performance to choose the optimal choice between this black line is higher in the trials with the poor partners as compared to the good partner also. So this result shows that the participant recruit some strategy to use some metacognition to predict poor partner's performance also. But this is not used for the good partner's performance predictions.
Sorry, so can I ask a question? So In this case, so N equal 27 page participants.
Yeah.
And so you're divided to two partners.
Yeah.
So defines so good partner and the poor partner and the middle partner. Or
Okay. So sorry. Here is that 27 participant is the participant who join in this task also. For each the subject also, we choose the good partner and poor partners, the data for each subject also. For each subject, we give some the poor partner, both the poor partner option and good partner option also. And we compare the same participant behavior in the trial that the self is paired with a good partner, and in the trial that the self is paired with a poor partner also.
and
So, yeah.
good partner and poor partner is a real human.
Good partner and poor partner was real human.
What's real human?
Okay. We collected this data before this experiment.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand.
Okay. And yeah. So we choose these two also. And participants know this framework of the game also. So participants believe that that this is real participant data also. Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So this is the MRI experiment also. In the 100 trials is a self versus good partner task, and 100 trials self versus poor partner task also. And we compare the brain activity for the comparison between the self versus good and self versus poor also. Okay. So this is a MRI result also, and we focusing on the first social metacognition phase to compare the self and partners probabilities here also. And as seen here also, the anterior prefrontal cortex is active in correlation with some of the self probability during the social metacognition phase also. Okay, so this result is super consistent with the first study that this area is active in the comparison between the self and the environment probability also. So the first findings from this study is that anyway, the anterior prefrontal cortex area 47 is interested in the self also and for the prediction of the performance by oneself also. Okay.
Why this is only the left?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question also. We changes some of the threshold, statistical threshold to find that this area also. We found that the right anterior prefrontal cortex is also the active also. But in both studies also, the left side is more prevalent also. Probably this is maybe related to some of the lateralization of the brain also. And maybe some of the language areas are more lateralized also, and maybe some of the learning, model-based learning, model-free learning, and the switching is lateralized like left also. So my hypothesis is that probably this anterior prefrontal cortex is generally some important to make some internal model and then evaluate this internal model also. And maybe this model is generally the lateralized left hemisphere also. Maybe the left anterior prefrontal cortex activity is more salient as compared to the right hemisphere also.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we found that this self anterior prefrontal cortex is interested in self probability also. That we try to see if this area is active in correlation with the pattern probability. But unfortunately, this area is not interested in the other participant probability also. Okay, that this is for self area also. But we focusing on some difference between response to the self probability and the partner probability here, and calculate some of the difference or some of the time course effect or so. And then we found that this difference is more prominent in the comparison between the self and the poor partner, but it's not salient in the comparison between the self and the good partner also. So this beta value is significantly different for the trials, the poor partner and good partner also. So our interim conclusion from this is that the anterolateral prefrontal cortex area 47 is important for the prediction of self-performance also, but this is important only for the comparison of some of the partners, whose performance is predictable also. If the both are predictable and then compare it also, that this area is active. But if the other counterpart partner is unpredictable, so this area cannot be used for this purpose also. Okay, and this activity is most prominent in the very later phase also. There is very slow process of the comparison of the self and partner's performance also. Okay. And another interesting findings is that this activity in the anterior prefrontal cortex is predicts some of this social metacognition performance also in the area 47 anterior prefrontal cortex. But this correlation is not significant with a good partner also. This is unpredictable also. So anyway, this anterior prefrontal cortex is important for some prediction of the self and partner's performance based on the metacognition also. So to see some of the causal role of this anterior prefrontal cortex also, we disrupted the activity of the anterior prefrontal cortex by using the TMS also. Okay, so this is the result also. If we give some no stimulation to the anterior prefrontal cortex also, this metacognition performance is better with poor partner's condition as compared to the good partner's condition also. This is significant, and this is consistent with the MRI study also. But if we disrupt anterior prefrontal cortex also, the difference between the poor and good partner's condition is disappeared, and especially the better metacognition performance with the poor participant is impaired. Okay. And so especially for this effect is for the poor partner's performance condition also. And another important thing is that this effect is maintained for the control side stimulation, the vertex stimulation also, and disruption did not affect on the perceptual performance evaluated by the D prime also. So these results show that anterior prefrontal cortex is important for the prediction of the future performance, but it is not for the perceptual, the task performance itself also. Okay. So here that we showed that to use some strategy to project someone's own metacognition to predict some the other people's the thought or the performance also, the same the anterior prefrontal cortex for the metacognition is used also. But another important thing is that how to predict some good partner's performance also. Okay. So in show here also, the metacognitive performance for the good partner's performance is low as compared to the poor partner condition also, but this performance is significantly higher than the chance also. So we are interested in how the participants solve the question of the comparison between the self and the good partner's performance also. Okay, so we focus on some of the brain areas which is active in correlation with some the other partners' probability variation. And we found that the posterior temporoparietal junction, TPJP, is generally activated in correlation with the other people's probability also. Okay, this activity is very consistent with some massive, some social neuroscience study that the TPJP is associated with some theory of mind also, that to think about the other people's some task or the other people's performance also. But we examine some the brain activity of TPJP also, and we found that the TPJP, the activity is most responsive to the intuition of the partners also. Okay, so in the task also, basically, the participant need to compare the self and partner's performance also. But in the general also, okay, if the participant is compared with the poor partners also, the performance is generally better also. It's very intuitive to choose the self probability also. But if you are paired with good partners also, in that case also, the generally good partner is better also. So as following the intuition also, the choosing the good partners is better option also. Okay, so like that, if the participant make decisions following the intuition also, this PTPJ is active in correlation with some the probability of the partner also. Okay. But if they chose the counterintuitive decision, like that you chose the poor partners option, or that you did not choose the good partners option, that this activity is not salient also. So there is a significant difference between the intuitive partner and counterintuitive partner's choice also. So this shows that, okay, the TPJP is believed to be associated with social cognition also, but the TPJP is important for the social decisions by following heuristics or some intuition also. Okay, and also we are very focusing on the activity of the TPJP associated with some outcome learning or some of the history of the success of the partner's task also. And then we found that this TPJP is active, okay, in correlation with the win, stay, and lose shift strategy of the partners, some of the outcome in the previous trials also. But this activity is not correlated with the win, stay, and lose shift strategy of the self also. So this result also shows that the TPJP is important for the social cognition, but this TPJP is the activity is based on the learning, social learning that is happening during this task also. So this is the conclusion of the study also, that we found that there is a two independent process of the social metacognition and social cognition to predict the other people's performance and thought also. If the other people's performance and thought is predictable based on the metacognition, by projecting your metacognition to the others also, the system of the social metacognition and the anterior prefrontal cortex is important for this process also. And if you cannot use this metacognition process, and you need to base on the just heuristics and the learning of the other people's some the performance just based on some the observation and history also. In that case, the TPJP is important also. Okay. So this is the conclusion. The slide of my talk also, how do animals and humans imagine how the others behave? So we found that some metacognition for self is useful for the predicting the others' thought also. But this is just works for the situation that projection of the metacognition is working also. And in that case also, the area 47, the common neural substrate for the metacognition is important also. Okay, so I'm now involved in some brain mind project also, and we are inventing some task MRI paradigm and other imaging method for the humans, monkeys also. We just started some two-photon microscopy, the calcium imaging project in monkeys by using a similar task for humans also. So please contact me if you're interested in our work also. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for paying attention to my talk. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for the great talk. And I have one or two questions. So one is your final interest in the TPJ, and so the first region is the LPFC. So it's really very far from in the distance. And is there a relationship in the network, or how do you feel?
Okay, thank you for the nice question. So yeah, especially this anterior prefrontal cortex is one of the hub region of that. This area has a very long length, the projection with some of the parietal and temporal area also. Very the direct cortical connection is known between the anterior prefrontal cortex and the posterior parietal cortex, that including TPJP also. So maybe this pathway is reasonable to enable some of the efficient, maybe some in my case it's some metacognition or some of the monitoring of some of the processes that is happening in the brain also.
There's some integration is done by somewhere, or
Yeah, so there is no direct evidence that integration happen also, but the axonal projection, the dense axonal projection, suggests that okay, this pathway is ideal for the integration also.
Okay, and the next question is a more basic thing. So I don't understand the TMS effect to the brain. So it is a depress or enhance the activity?
Okay, so here is that the protocol we use is the theta burst stimulation, and this protocol is believed to disrupt the brain region when targeting the brain region activity. Okay, so in this protocol also we give some the continuous stimulation for the 40 seconds or so. That by using this offline stimulation method also, some stimulated brain area is generally disrupted also. But it depends on the brain region also, or some slight modification of the protocol also. So sometimes some of the brain area, the targeted brain areas activities enhance also, that we should be very cautious about that. But maybe this method is very different from some online stimulation method, like that. If you give some single pulse or so, like primary motor cortex or so, and some fingers move or like that, this stimulation is excitation or so, and but it is very difficult to use for some of the prefrontal function also. So that we generally use some the method to disrupt the brain regions rather than the excitation of the area.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. And is there any question from audience? No. Okay, Hayashi-san.
Miyamoto-san, thank you very much. Very nice talk. I have a question about the Area 47 you showed very nicely. Area 47 is very interesting area, and as far as I know, it has a very high, heavily myelinated area in the association cortex. Very interesting area, and I wanna know about your opinion. What kind of connectivity or circuitry with the Area 47 is important for our understanding of the metacognition and the social cognition? You've shown nicely about the activity in the TPJP in the second part of the talk, but I'm wondering what are the important core network, functional network for metacognition itself, particularly in the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, thank you for asking the very good question also. Especially in the context of metacognition also, we believe that some connection between the frontal polar cortex is important also. So frontal polar cortex is area 10, and especially in the very midline, the medial prefrontal cortex, the part of the frontal polar cortex is that it is known as one hub of some default mode network also. But this area is also important for the metacognition, and this area is anatomically connected with some of the area 47 in the humans also, and also some of the very strong functional connectivity between the frontal cortex and anterior prefrontal cortex is observed in the humans also. So we believe that this is one of the key connection for the metacognition, and we are now focusing on this pathway in the humans also. And also in the monkeys, maybe the Hayashi-san, you also working, is that this area 47 is a very important, interesting area because based on some comparison of the fingerprint or some functional connectivity patterns between the humans and monkeys also, then based on the Rushworth Labs study, based on the Franz Neubarth study, this human area 47 has no counterpart in the monkeys also. So there is no anatomical region whose connectivity pattern is similar to the human area 47 also. So we are now focusing on this area is very human unique, and we believe that we will try to look for some of the functional counterpart of this area 47 in the monkeys by doing the same task also, that we can know some of the development of some evolution of the prefrontal, ventral lateral prefrontal cortex in the humans. That is important for the metacognition.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that that part is probably just anterior part of the Broca's area, and the area 47 is some people also suggest that that's also related to the language functions as well. And I have also recalled that resting state function connectivity also show that quite a similar network pattern that corresponds to the area 47, the human, that's shown in the macaque. That there is one area that's quite showing the quite particular pattern of the functional connectivity over the cortex that are located in just the anterior part of the Broca's area in the human, as well as the macaque. So I'm really interested in your task, if I'm right, whether if you have done some network analysis, for example, you have combined the TMS or something, transcranial
ultrasound. Yeah.
Right. So have you analyzed the psychophysiological interaction analysis to look at how the area 47 is functionally associated when performing the metacognition task performance?
Yeah. Thank you for the nice suggestion. Also, that we haven't done some connectivity analysis during the task also, but we are very interested in some of the association between the close area also. And you're right. Also, the Broca area is a bit posterior also, and some of the areas that is important for some of the mirror neuron or some of the is a bit posterior, but in the bit anterior, there is some subjective evaluation. Subject value is encoded also. Some of these function is very similar and some overlap to make some of the internal model of self on the others and the environment was all. So we want to see this local neural circuit for this area in the humans, and then in the future for the monkeys at the neural level also. It's interesting, I believe.
Thank you.